Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I'm your host here, John Harcar, and I'm here today with Irwin Boris. And what we're going to talk about is making good, sound investment decisions for a good financial future. You know, remember guys, at Investor Fuel, we help real estate investors, service providers, and really all real estate entrepreneurs 2 to 5x your business. And we do that by providing tools and resources to build the business you want to build and live the life that you want to live. Irwin, welcome to our show.
Thank you so much for having me today. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you spending some time. I know we talked about a little bit about, before about, your process and how you help people make those good financial decisions. Before we kind of get into all that and get into the weeds about, some of those things we talked about, tell our folks in our audience about you, how you got into real estate, where, what you're doing now, basically how you got here.
Sure. I have a background in accounting. It's my undergraduate degree. I've taken the CPA exam. I've worked in public accounting. And from the very beginning, a lot of my client assignments were real estate based. Oh. So I got to see a lot of numbers. And, back then they're just numbers. Yeah. And when I decided that it was kind of boring, 4.5 years into that, I went to work for a very large owner operator who's on the Forbes list. And they taught me the management side, the day-to-day property management side of the multifamily world, where I had to do everything from make sure that the repairs were done when the tenants put the tickets in, to manage the crew and ordering the right supplies, to actually going to landlord-tenant court and seeing the games some tenants played when you tried to collect rent, and all the stories.
So you got the crash course.
Yeah, the crash course. And
nice.
So you actually got an appreciation for what some of those numbers meant on financial statements, and how hard it was to actually, whether it was raising income, why sometimes the trends were up and down with repairs and things like that. And throughout my career, I've either worked for owner operators, either started as a controller, to an asset manager, to helping do acquisitions and capitalizations, and then I've spent on and off in between those positions as a banker, working for a savings bank, doing portfolio loans, to working for GMAC Commercial Mortgage, which is now known as Berkadia, through the evolution. As a mortgage banker, raising debt and equity and originating loans for CMBS as well as life insurance companies, to where I am today, where I've been in all the food groups, and as the interest rates started to move and the pricing got crazy on apartments where you could not get positive leverage, we focused more on property types where we could get the positive leverage, namely multi-tenant industrial and shallow bay flex, where we've always had an interest in. We've always owned those assets, and we just, reshaped our portfolio knowing that we could always get positive leverage and we could always generate cash flow.
Got it. Why commercial? Like, why back in the day? Why and I know that you work for somebody, but why commercial and not residential or anything like that?
Well,
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
it's sort of why we're in industrial flex now, because if you are, in residential, yeah, I have a broker's license. I haven't done many transactions as a broker, but when people are working as a broker in residential, they're more or less selling homes, or else they're buying homes to flip them, and that's ordinary income. It's not capital gain, so it's taxed very differently. Right. Also, if you were buying homes and trying to rent out single-family homes, you as the property owner were exposed to a lot of expenses. Taxes go up. The tenants might pay the utilities and the water, but you never know the insurance cost is going to be, what kind of damage is going to be when they move out, whether you have a security deposit or not, if they're going to set the place on fire, even accidentally. And even as we transitioned from multifamily fully into industrial and shallow bay flex, we really enjoyed it because I had no exposure to fluctuations in operating expenses. Most of those leases, if not all of them, were either modified gross, where the tenants pay 100% of the pro rata increase, or triple net, where they just pay 100% pro rata of the operating costs of the property. And the last few years, I guess the last 4 years or so, while apartment owners were taking it on the chin, while insurance costs sometimes tripled or quadrupled, in addition to payroll costs, and coming out of COVID, every municipality wanted to raise taxes to get some of their money back. We were sort of nice and boring. We didn't worry about it. And insurance went up on our properties, but not as much percentage-wise as they did on multifamily. Because you figure if you have 200,000 feet and you have 8 tenants, you got 8 toilets. You don't have 85 toilets.
True.
And showers.
That's very true.
That cause leaks.
And
the reason we like the shallow bay flex is even better is because typically, like the deal we're working on now, is I have 12 buildings. It's 275,000 feet. So if I have to replace a roof, it's a small roof. It's not a roof that covers a 400,000 square foot building.
Yeah, right.
Back.
Right. So it just seems
it's a way to control your expenses and your capital and things like that.
Yeah, it seems like, and it's something I've heard, like I mentioned before, last couple of days, I've talked to a couple of gentlemen in the flex space, less maintenance, less, than what maybe residential is.
No, it's definitely a lot less maintenance. It's a boring investment. They stay full. Everybody paid during COVID, and they're in everybody's neighborhood. There could be anything from a body shop to the plumber has a small space, an electrician, the sheetrock guy, a carpenter. They all need these 5 to 10,000 square foot spaces in the small bay, and in the large buildings we have everything from assembly to manufacturing. To distributors of all sorts of equipment.
Now, what are some of the challenges of this type of investing versus traditional residential or multifamily?
I think part of the challenge is finding the right building in the right location, where it's in residential or multifamily, you're always looking at comparables. What are rent comparables? What are sales comparables? And we buy these buildings in a lot of secondary locations on purpose because there's always tenants that need to be there. So it's determining, why is the tenant there? Are they tied to the labor force? Are they tied to the suppliers? Are they tied to the customers? Or is it a combination of there? Sometimes they're taught. Go ahead.
What do you mean by secondary locations? I apologize for interrupting, but what do you mean by secondary?
I'm not buying downtown Atlanta. Or downtown Miami. I might be in a secondary location in Georgia that might be, 20 miles outside the perimeter loop of Atlanta.
So tertiary markets.
No. Tertiary is
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency. It's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Is like the sticks.
Oh, yeah, okay.
A secondary.
You're just talking about the outer banks of the
Yes.
main market. Okay.
Yeah, outer banks of major cities. As we call them, secondary markets that are still along major thoroughfares, highways, rail,
right,
access to airports and things like that. Because typically those buildings cost less. You can buy them at a discount to replacement cost, and you can keep them full.
Mm-hmm.
And the tenants going to be there aren't tenants that want to pay the prime rents anyway. They just want a place they could install their equipment, have their people come to work, and make money.
Yeah. You mentioned finding the right building or finding the right location. I mean, how do you find your buildings? I mean, how do you specifically go out there and find your deals?
Some come through brokers. We have a call, they know who we are. They know what I like to buy. They know I'm not interested in the full marketing process. We even go through several rounds of offers. It's like, call me when it doesn't close. Call me. It's like, call me after the hailstorm when the car dealer wants to get rid of the cars at a discount.
Yeah, right. Get rid of it for cheap. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, I'm not always the high bidder, but I'm the guy that's going to close. So, some come through people we've already transacted with. Sometimes, we track deals that we like in some of these locations. And the one I'm working on now, we made an offer on 2 years ago. The seller wasn't ready to meet the market. So it came back to us before it went out to the rest of the world. What do you want to do? We agreed on a number. He's retiring. And so we'll hopefully get that closed in the next 60 days.
Awesome.
Sometimes you drive by a building and you say, oh, this is an interesting location. Let's, see who owns it. So we do a lot of research. We read a lot of industry publications on what's happening in certain markets, where job growth is. You could also pull out an infrastructure map of where of the United States and see where the big infrastructure money is going. And those are typically spaces where you're going to see a nice pop in your rents and your demand.
Right.
Because especially if you're buying it at $70 a foot and it costs $200 a square foot to build, you're going to be full. You're going to be able to move the rents.
Yeah, got it. What other challenges are there in this industry or this part of the industry?
Well, I guess to find a building of a certain size, like I'm not buying, 5,000 square foot building. I'm looking for, a larger asset with multiple tenants. We've done very few single tenants because if that tenant gives you notice they're moving out, all of a sudden you got, 250 or 500,000 square foot and you got to scramble. What do you do with it? You won't have any income coming in for a while. Where I like the shallow bay flex, where the one I'm working on, I have 275,000 feet, 12 buildings with 40 tenants. And that is what we call the multifamily of the industrial world.
Right.
One guy moves in, one guy moves out.
Well, yeah. Mm-hmm.
You always can pay the mortgage. Nobody loses sleep.
Right. What are some mistakes you see people doing when they're getting into this?
Well, I see mistakes in commercial real estate investing in general by people that invest, especially people that aren't active, people looking for passive income, your limited partners or your accredited investors. Some of them chase projected pro forma returns, and sometimes it happens. Most of the time, it doesn't. I only remember one deal in my entire life that actually hit the number on the pro forma. Most of them are a little short. Sometimes they're a little bit over. But if because there's so many variables over a 3 or 5 or 7 year period, and you really can't foresee more than 2 years out, if that much. And there's just so many variables. Like now, if you're in a value add multifamily project, and with tariffs coming in, and you need steel or lumber to do renovations, and all of a sudden the appliances which are made overseas have 25% tariffs. You can't get stoves or dishwashers or refrigerators.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
You're screwed. You can have delays and increase in project costs, and it's a problem. And I find that the renovations that we need for a commercial tenant coming in, it's a lot less than it costs to renovate an apartment, to make it a class A.
Yeah, for
Where
sure.
those are probably $25,000 or $30,000 for a one-bedroom apartment now. By the time you get done with the floor and the granite and everything
And
else,
appliances and all that.
Yeah. And I might spend $25,000 or $30,000 on a 3,000 square foot, for carpet and some window treatments and a new bathroom and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I get a better return on my investment.
I'm sure. 100%. What advice would you give to someone trying to get into this, or what resources do you think are the best way to kind of find out, hey, how do I start doing this?
I think that unless you're prepared to really roll the dice yourself and try to do it, I would say find someone that has been doing it and invest with them and learn and watch and take notes. Because, it's one thing to buy a small building in your neighborhood that might run you $500,000 or $800,000 and have 3 tenants in it. But then still you got all the headaches. You got to make sure the leasing is done. You got to make sure the bills get paid. You got to make sure they pay you. Whereas if you're investing with somebody else who's got a larger operations and the entire office staff, a lot of that's done for you.
Right.
So, that's how I got into this business, by investing with others. Until I found some place where I could invest with my partners as a principal. And the way we look at it is our investors are our family. We see a lot of them socially. We're available for calls on nights and weekends. I have a lot of investors, some of them that are doctors or dentists, and I know they call me after office hours, so it's on a weekend or it's 8:00 at night. And we think of it, as building a business together.
Sure.
All our interests are aligned, and the only ever comment I get is, "Why does it take the accountant so long to generate a K-1?" That's the only thing I hear at the end of the year.
How do people find those mentors, or where's the best place to go find someone that could guide them?
Well, I guess you could look on social media. Has got a lot of stuff on there. Sometimes it can be a little deceiving, but I would say if you went to LinkedIn and see what's there and look what people talk about, you'll be able to tell who knows what they're talking about by reading what they post and maybe what they comment on other people's posts. And based on that, you could probably eventually go to a website and see what's there, see what kind of educational materials there.
Yep.
And like in my bio, I have a calendar link. You want to have a conversation and just talk? I'm happy to talk to you.
Cool.
At this point in my life, it's all about giving back, whether it's people who want to invest in commercial real estate or even, on the high school level. I'm licensed as a teacher. I teach financial literacy. The high school was because
God bless you. They need it.
No, unfortunately, by high school, it's too late. If you think of the ultra wealthy people, those kids start learning about money in elementary school from the time they're born.
Yep.
And that's why they have good business heads and they can make decisions. And they'll probably out negotiate you for your baseball cards on the school lot. So,
yeah. Or my daughter will out negotiate me for the chicken nuggets.
Yeah. So I think financial literacy, is people learn about it too late. And it's all about having enough money to be comfortable. And I think you really got to start young. Not to say it's never too late to start, but you have to admit that there's a problem and you want to find help.
Yeah.
And find someone that's going to help you.
Yeah, I think it was what my father told me back in the day. Like, you put $10 away a month for like 20 years and you have $1 million. Or I don't know, something like. And I'm get out of here.
He probably taught you about the rule of 72, where money, you take the interest rate and divide it by the number of years, tells you how long it takes money to double.
Yeah, something. And I'm like, you're crazy. I wish I would have done that. It would have been so simple.
Yeah, it's the power of compounding, and that's how
It
we look
is.
at an investment. The real way to explain how I like to invest is if I said to you, take your body weight, compound at 3% a year for the next 7 or 10 years. You'd say to me, I don't want to do that.
Mm-mm.
So if I'm paying you, 8% a year, because the rents are generating 8 or 9 current, and we distribute that, and the rents are growing at 3% a year, so it's compounding, and the property is appreciating at 4 or 5% of the year. Next thing you know, in 10 years, you've doubled your money, plus you've gotten
Mm-hmm.
half of it back in cash flow all along. So
Right.
it's not a difficult formula to follow. Uh, you just have to open your eyes and say, you know what? I understand it. It's slow. It's boring. There's no way to get wealthy quick. But over time, I'm going to create a lot of wealth.
Well, and that takes us to our topic, right? Let's talk about making good decisions for a good financial future. I mean, you and I talked about, before about our alternative vehicles like real estate, or and getting to that financial freedom. So tell us how you like to help folks do that, or what suggestions or things you can kind of convey to us.
Sure. I spend a lot of time talking to investors who, some of which have a problem, whether it's a deal going sideways that they're already in. Do you throw good money after bad? Do you answer the capital call? Will I ever get my money out? I like to try to identify what their problem is and see, who the villain is, and try to figure
Mm-hmm.
out if there's a way to overcome that. And if it's something that maybe they don't have a lot of problems, or they don't have any uh, legacy issues, but they're trying to figure out, how do I save for retirement, or for my future, and how do I build a cash flow stream. And I'm going to try to explain to them the way I do it for myself,
Right.
and guide them through how I've done it for myself, and try to help put together a clear, actionable plan, sort of a step-by-step guide. Uh, and that's why, for me and my partners now, my investors, it's all about the cash flow, because when you close on the investment, that's really the only thing that's predictable, is what is your cash on cash return from day one.
Right.
And if you have leases that increase 3 or 4% a year, over time you're going to get more money, and you're going to create more value.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so it's about trying to explain this to them, and they could do this within a retirement account. Like, I'm tired of opening up those IRA or 401k statements, especially with the stock market the last 2 weeks, and watching it go like this.
Yeah,
You know, you,
exactly.
so I know it's been a lot of disheartening for people who thought at the end of last year and earlier this year, oh, look at the balances, look at the balances. Yeah, but look at them now. We've gone backwards a
Mm-hmm.
year already.
Mm-hmm.
Where in a retirement account, if you're investing in commercial real estate, you're getting the cash flow, you're getting the appreciation, you're not seeing that roller coaster ride. And that's not good for your heart, especially if you're an older person. Uh,
Yeah.
so, I try to help them, encourage them to take the necessary steps to, secure their financial future. It doesn't have to be with me. It could be somebody else they want to do it with. If they like industrial, we're more happy to talk to them. But just explaining to them how I look at investing, and to see if there's an alignment of interests.
Mm.
I personally invest in it for the cash flow,
Yep.
because I know over time, the more deals I invest in, the more monthly or quarterly income I have coming in, the more value I'm creating, and for the long term, the more wealth I'll have.
The moral,
So
yeah, exactly.
it's not get rich quick. The old adage, the tortoise beats the hare. What's better, the rabbit or the turtle? I think being the turtle, slow and steady, it helps you sleep at night.
Helps you win the race, so they say.
Correct.
What trends are you seeing? Like, are you seeing any specific trends in the commercial space, like a growth in one area versus another? Just any overall trends you see in the business?
Yeah, I'm seeing, multifamily rents did tick up. I saw that in one of the news articles
Yeah.
last month. But I also noticed that retail in some locations is coming back.
Hmm.
Lenders are now lending on office space again, because there's all this big back to the office movement.
It used to be a dirty
But
word, office.
yeah, but office, still worries me, because in order to keep your key employees, you're sort of hybrid. It's 3 days a week in the office. So when those leases renew, do they take less space?
Mm.
So I don't know if I want to go into office yet. Maybe medical office buildings that are next to a hospital campus, I would do. but
Yeah.
not traditional office. Multifamily, when you think about going in, capitalization rates and interest rates are about the same, so I don't think you can get positive leverage. It also depends on your investment horizon. I think there's a lot of opportunities in small industrial deals, and if you want to put a whole bunch together in your backyard, these small
Mm-hmm.
flex deals, you could probably do it and run them yourself over time. But it's also about diversity. We see a lot of opportunity in the Midwest. We look at the infrastructure overlay on where the infrastructure projects are, where we see corporate growth, like under the CHIPS Act. If it doesn't get repealed, we know the big chip factory going in the Syracuse, New York market. So we have some property up there that we're trying to get rezoned and build on. You're also going to track job growth, and this is stuff you can read about. Where is the population moving to? That's going to tell you where there's probably more of a demand for apartments. There might be more of a demand for shallow bay flex, for vendors that need to service the homeowners or the apartment tenants. There's always something to find to make money. I know people have made a lot of money with these Airbnbs. But I keep reading the nightmare stories that you can't get people out sometimes.
Yeah. Airbnb does take a specific person.
Yeah,
Well, Irwin, I mean, I appreciate you joining us today and sharing all that information. And if folks want to get a hold of you, maybe they have interest in industrial space, or maybe they have any commercial questions they want to ask, what is the best way for people to get in touch?
You put my name into the search bar, Google, you'll find one of several ways to get hold of me, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, one of the companies that I'm affiliated with, through a corporate website. On LinkedIn, you'll find my email address and a cell phone number, or you'll be able to even contact me there.
Awesome.
I make it really easy, and sometimes I get people called out of the blue, and I'm thinking, where'd they get my number from? And I'm like, oh yeah, it's out there. So you'd be surprised if you put your own name into the search bar, what might come up on you.
Yeah, I've done that. But once again, I appreciate you, and guys, definitely reach out. We'll put all the contact information we have on in the show notes. So if anybody wants to click on the links or whatever, they'll be able to get in touch with you.
No, I appreciate that. I'm glad to help anybody who's interested.
Yeah, and I thank you again for being on this podcast. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, and we'll look forward to seeing you on the next one. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.